Mr. Chair.
I'm ready.
All right.
Hang on a second.
Oh, hang on, we got tech.
It's
I
unfortunate that.
could, hang on, let me do this. I don't want to message everyone. I'm not sure how to, I'm assuming that she's busy with the front
Yeah.
desk.
You
You could jump down to number 3 on the agenda.
Yeah.
and
Sure.
move back
Let's
once
do
you're
it.
back.
Yeah, because number 3 will not have any bearing on
Right.
1 or 2. All right. On to agenda item number 3. This is selecting a volunteer to serve on the Unmistakable Event Grant Review Ad Hoc Committee. So this is what used to be called the
TGT.
thank you. Yes, this is what used to be called the TGT committee. So Tim, you have served on there at least once, maybe
I've served.
twice, 3, 4, 5. What are we at?
I'll happy to do it.
Oh, okay. We have a volunteer. At this point, obviously, Tim has self-nominated, but if anybody else is interested in doing it, feel free to.
Let me provide some information. So it is the TGT grant program, $150,000. Of course, there's a lot of talk about possibilities with the World Cup. Working to figure out the way to equitably adapt some of it, because not every event is going to occur when World Cup happens. So anyway, we're trying to work through that, but I have developed a schedule because the goal is to get these grants resolved by the end of the year so that we can do the community arts grants. And that way, if people don't get a TGT grant, they know they can try to get a community arts grant. So that's what we've been doing. So basically, the application, I'm looking at you, but everybody, the applications will come in by November 6th. And then you'll have about a week to review and score, and then you'll meet on November 14th. So just put that in make sure you're here, because I know that's getting close to Thanksgiving and things.
I'm here.
So, okay, so anybody that would want to do that, that's the circumstance. So November 14th will be the ad hoc committee meeting at Parks and Recreation.
Welcome back, Marlo. Does anybody have any questions about the TGT or what was formerly the TGT process and what is now the Unmistakable Event Grant Review Ad Hoc Committee? Okay. Hearing none, Tim, I really appreciate you volunteering to serve on that new version of the committee that you've formerly served on the previous version of. Does anybody have any objections or comments or compliments for Tim? Anything like that? No. If not, Porter, do we need to do a roll call vote on this? How do you feel?
Um,
Doesn't really seem votey.
I don't think you have to vote, as long as nobody I don't see anybody screaming or
doesn't
shaking
seem
their
voting.
fist and so.
Okay,
And
great.
it's nice to have somebody that has experience, so.
Yeah. Again, thank you, Tim. Marla, now that you're back, I don't know how much you caught of our blundering in your absence, but we skipped forward to number 3 on the agenda because number 1 and 2, electing the chair and vice chair, we felt like it was important for you to be able to be a part of those conversations. So I did say that despite what I previously said, that I'm willing to still be the chair if nobody else wants to do it. If anybody has any input or a motion, or I will hear those things at this time.
Seems like everybody's.
Oh yeah, I will need a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Tim. Moving to re-elect me as chair of
And
this
I'll
body.
second.
Okay, great. Thank you, Kelly. We will now do a roll call vote, starting with Marlo,
Approve.
and then Tim,
Approve.
and then Alicia,
Approve.
and then Monique,
Approve.
and then Kelly,
Approved.
and then Matthew.
Approve.
I'm not going to do what I did last time. Well, I will also vote to approve, passing unanimously. I will not do what I did last time, where I absolutely say I won't do it again. But we'll think about it. We have another agenda item, which is electing the second agenda item, which is electing the vice chair. During the conversation around electing the chair, Monique did say that she'd be willing to serve as vice chair again. Is there anybody else who's interested in serving or would like to nominate somebody else for the role? Hearing none, I will once again look for a motion to approve.
A motion to approve?
Second.
Kelly and Tim. We'll do a roll call vote to re-elect Monique as vice chair of the Cultural Arts Commission, starting with Marlo.
Approve.
And Tim.
Approve.
And then
Approve.
And then Monique.
Approve.
And then Kelly
Approve?
and Matthew.
Approve.
And I shall also approve the re-election of Monique as vice chair of the Cultural Arts Commission, which takes us from agenda item number 2 all the way to agenda item number 4. So this is reviewing the updated UPAE guidelines with some added World Cup adaptations. I don't know if anyone's had a chance to look at the attached document, which Porter put together. It is a pretty nice, concise guideline for folks who are submitting applications for the Unmistakable Public Art Exhibition that incorporates some soccer, World Cup, and global unity themes.
Can you expand it at all?
That's a good, I just was thinking the same. I thought I could.
And Porter, if you share it, the kids on Zoom can see it better.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying to make it larger too.
Try the Alt plus.
I did, and it doesn't,
Oh, because you hit present.
oh,
Uh,
okay, so what do I do instead?
Well, you could use the magnifying glass or hold Control and the plus key on your keyboard.
But just don't go to the present mode is what you're telling me.
That's the, and
All right.
where it says 100% there. you can always-
Right, no, I know that part. I just thought I could do it in present mode, sorry.
No, that'd be too convenient.
Yeah, I dare say. Okay. So.
While you're scrolling through, Porter, is there any possibility of extending that deadline? It looks like it was November 2nd. And I was just curious, let's say if we approved this tonight, how soon would that call go out? And would we have enough time to really get the word out on it? And would there be any objection to extending a little bit further in November?
First answer is I don't want to put this out before the city commission approves the 2026 budget. But then it can go out thereafter. So after the 3rd September meeting, September 16th, I believe, is when they formally do that. So that's the only thing I'm really waiting for at this point. And yes, we can adjust the schedule.
I would love that if possible later in the month of November, just because this is a new initiative and I think really doing some marketing efforts throughout October would be really advantageous. So if it is possible to have a later deadline, I think that would be great for the program.
I can adjust. I was focused on getting it out early, to give everybody as much time, but certainly we have some wiggle room.
No, I love getting it out early. I just wondered if we could have more time while it's open to make sure that people get the word
Yeah.
and are able to ask some questions and get engaged.
Yep, I can do that. So from here on, it's basically the same as last year, which has been recently updated. And last year was the first year that we implemented this particular version. So the main aspect of this is the invitation for artists to make proposals, obviously directed toward, Unmistakable Public Art Exhibition. We are seeking proposals for temporary public artworks that celebrate the beauty, passion, culture, and community of soccer. Selected works will be installed around Lawrence for residents, visitors, and international visitors to enjoy during this historic celebration. So it's, asking for creative interpretations by artists, and as we discussed, increasing the stipend from $1,750 to $3,000.
Is that the maximum you think we could do? In my mind, for some reason, I was thinking of doubling it, like a $3,500, but I would be curious if anyone else has input on that. Alicia, I know you've done these before, and what your thoughts are on stipend and how that amount feels commissioning new work.
I think, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, a couple of things. I agree with expanding the deadline a little bit. I looked at it and I thought that's only a month-ish for people to get kind of proposals together. 3,000, I mean, 3,500 is gonna be better to work with, especially if we want these, you know, bigger projects around. That extra 500 is important. I do see that it's installed in May, early May. I know you can't say exactly, but from when we go through and look at these, I imagine it's the meeting after this ends, the deadline. But I would be interested in how quick, especially if some artists are expected to, you know, make these, and it's in May, how quick the payment would look for this. Just because if someone's getting something fabricated or needs a big bulk of materials, it might be a real smart move to think about how long that payment, I know it's going through the city, but that would be something I would look at, especially it having a deadline of May. But I think 3,500 would be great.
Is that workable in the budget, Porter?
It just reduces the number of pieces that can be commissioned. So probably drop, I think we were talking about 6 commissions, and this would drop it to probably 5. I have to crunch the numbers specifically, but it would make it a reduced number of projects.
Was there a grant that was being applied for to add to this, or? I thought there was a
Marla was looking at a tourism grant from the state. Unfortunately, she was looking into it, and we talked about it. It got a little tricky with their requirements as far as a match. And, you know, had we had more time, we might have been able to figure something out. But basically, using the existing program fund as a match didn't really work for them. So we've abandoned the grant. There is some discussion about a TGT increase and possibly use of expanding various programs, but that is very much in conversation. And there's a lot of interest in that, you know, for different things. So I can't say whether that would come to this or not.
I'm so sorry that I missed, but so the conversation was that we would be doing less of them if we increased to 3,500, and how many, like what is the difference in quantity?
So based on what I remember from last time, we could do 6, I believe, depending on where I might be able to adjust budget a little bit. This would definitely reduce us to 5, so it'd be 1 less. I think, don't quote me 100% because I have to really sit down and crunch those numbers, but.
Daniel B. Smith, I feel like when we've talked about this in the past, and especially the idea of embracing World Cup, the event, and the fact that there's going to be so many folks coming from outside of the country to visit and being in the area, you know, like how that reframes the whole program. And I think that, to me, having less participants is obviously worse, but I feel like usually the goal each year is to have these sort of spread throughout the community. And we've talked about even trying to do that more and more, where we have more that are, you know, it's no longer called the downtown sculpture exhibition. It's not just downtown anymore. We've really been trying to get them kind of off the beaten path. But considering the fact that we're sort of shifting the audience to be people who live here and the visitors, I think that having less and having them in the locations where we know that visitors are going to go kind of makes sense to like match that goal. Having some that are, you know, in parts of Lawrence, in neighborhoods that visitors aren't likely to go through, I feel like, while ordinarily fits our goal of trying to have this public art throughout the community for everyone who lives in Lawrence, I think that pulling back on that a little bit for this year, to me makes sense. The difference between 5 and 6 isn't that huge, so I'm inclined to be in favor of higher stipend, less installations.
So Porter, you were,
We do something if we did like up to 3,500. So let's say I'm a filmmaker who has a video installation. I know this material is going to be this cost, but maybe I have another idea, visual artist, and I'm like, this scope of the project might only cost 2,000. Is it doable to do a range, or is that just overcomplicating everything and we just want to do a flat stipend for each artist?
Could you work that into the application?
Yes.
Be tricky.
That complicates criteria, and a big thing is, you know, fairness in the community, and generally speaking, when an amount is offered, people are going to desire the higher amount regardless of what they're doing.
True.
So I think it's doable. I do think that gets to be a little more challenging with a relatively small project like this, in trying to weigh that.
And then if we end up with like 500 extra nobody uses, like, we don't want that.
Yeah, I would suggest just offering what you're going to offer and not
Yeah.
complicating it.
Yeah.
I think if we went that route, it would probably be wise then to offer a specific number of amounts.
Yep.
So you have 3 at 3,500 and then figure it out, you know,
Yeah.
2 at 1,750 or something to that degree. But putting my artist hat on, that's kind of, I mean, Alicia, you might have some insight. That gets a little confusing unless I have a very specific project that I know the budget. You know, I think the tendency would be to want, so I mean, at that point, if I apply for a $3,500 commission but don't get it, then what happens? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess my question would be, is you'd have to put in the application, I imagine, some sort of budget breakdown of your,
Right.
that would have to be added just so you thought it through a little bit more. And let's, you know, if you didn't get the 3,500 and you got another amount, could you adapt that, or is it just not doable? Yeah, that's where I think my only complication, but I feel like they'd have to write out the budget. And no.
Porter, I have a quick question. So when you were talking about the potential for additional funds, that it was being kicked around, is that being kicked around as part of the budget process? Is that something that we would know post approval of the budget?
No,
Or is that
that's
coming from?
part of the challenge. So at Tuesday's meeting, the new ordinance to increase the TGT from 6% to 8% was passed.
Okay.
It does have to go through a waiting period. It has to be published in the paper, and then I think there's at least 30 days that somebody could make a cause not to have that happen. So that's being worked through, and of course, then it's also estimating the potential revenue from that and how that would be divvied up. A large portion of that will definitely go to Explore Lawrence to
Right.
handle marketing, and
Always does.
part of the goal is to try to attract, you know, as many people here
Right.
as possible. So it's been put out there along with
Okay.
many other things as a possibility, but again, I can't guarantee anything
Yeah,
at
no
this
worries.
point.
Yeah, I would come down in favor of doing 5 as well.
And could we do the 5 and not be married to the 5? So let's say we did the 3,500, estimating 5 stipends, we get a huge call, the TGT thing passes, and we get a budget bump. Is it possible to adjust that amount at that time? Let's say we're reviewing in January. Can we reevaluate, or do we have to say at this moment, we're taking 5?
A lot depends on how quickly the TGT funds don't officially start until January 1. So we won't know for sure. I mean, that's more of a scheduling issue of we may or may not know enough to build it into the existing program. It might have to be an added element later. And that would be, you know, we have to figure that out too. And this may impact the Unmistakable Event Grants as well. So it gets a little, this is the problem with World Cup, is that so much that we need to know is not going to be known until after the first of the year. And this just is an added element to that.
To be clear, though, Marla, this is Dean Smith. We wouldn't be saying it's 5 installations at all. I mean, we would just be saying the 3,500. We'd be setting that amount, and then once we got the call for, when we go through that process, and we would look at how much money we had, and we would figure out how many we can do. So
Right, and
we wouldn't be married to the number at all.
I think if you do the 5, you then also generate a list of who came in 6th, 7th, 8th kind of thing. Then if additional funds came along, that could be offered to the next selectees. And that way, you can do both.
Well, I definitely support it if that's in the realm of possibility, because I know there has been conversations about increasing that amount and spending reserves and different things. So I would definitely support it if we're not limited to the number of acceptance at this time.
Ditto.
Tina B. Smith. So it doesn't sound like anybody has spoken in opposition to raising the stipend, even with the understanding that it might lower the number of submissions that we accept.
Can we go back to the timing thing?
Yeah, sure.
So I think I'd feel better if we kind of set or talked about what that revised date might be, because I feel like, hearing what Alicia said, I feel like we need to decision these in December. If some of these are going to be bigger and there's going to be fabrication time and there's going to be, preparation, I mean, because if we just decision them in December, I mean, it's probably going to be into January before you have everything back to get going anyway. I mean, realistically.
With holidays and all.
So if we wait till January, then we're looking at the end of January. So I'm just wondering, do we cut off applications like, what is that? Is the 14th a Friday? So that would give it a solid 2 months. And then we could do our, behind the scenes scoring or all that stuff, and then kind of discuss it on the 10th of December. I don't know. I would feel better if we kind of had a time frame now,
Yeah.
since we're talking about it, so that we know what we're doing.
The way I did it this way was I was focused on the expediency for what you're talking about. So my hope was to get them by November 2nd, be able to get them processed, and then bring them to your meeting in November. That way, you give their time, more time, the end of the year. But I don't disagree with what's been said. So if you want to target the 10th, I think the 14th,
Or even the 21st, really. I mean, we can score pretty
in
quick.
a way you could, if you
I
are
just
all
wanna-
amenable and understand that you have a fairly quick turnaround. But
Yeah.
yeah, you could extend it to that point. Or you could hold a special meeting potentially if you thought that was necessary, but.
We've gotten pretty good at scoring,
Yeah.
on our own. And
So then, yeah, your decision would be made December 10th, and I would get on it. And truth be told, if it's 5 artists versus 9 artists, it's a little easier for me to manage paperwork and finances. So hopefully get them paid, fairly quickly.
Alicia, Marlo, how do you feel about that?
I think you're covered by the calendar.
Well, I think, yeah, definitely pushing it back to, I'm looking at the dates right now, to the 14th or 21st. I mean, that still gives a couple of weeks to score, even the 21st. Gives more time for applicants. And so, yeah, I think that sounds great. I think us deciding by the 10th of December sounds good to kind of get it rolling as holidays happen. And so I agree with this schedule.
That's great.
Okay, I'll adapt. I have a question. So this is something my brain gets into. So if we say November 14th or 21st, I always think, okay, that's a Friday. Nobody's going to touch these over the weekend. So why not give them the weekend and then have them be submitted either Sunday night or sometime Monday?
Sure.
Yeah.
Maybe the 17th is a good compromise?
Yeah.
Sure.
So let me do
great.
that November 17th.
We've all been that last minute artist.
Right, and we always get these last minute.
Yes, I love your.
I try to give
love
as
your
much
thing.
time, but of course, the deadline is very necessary.
Deadline like.
So I'll get them the
December 8th.
17th. That gives me
Right.
a few days to process them and get them all set up for you guys.
Good thinking.
And then we can get it on your December meeting. Okay, let's do that. So November 17th for the December 10 meeting. Done.
All right, great.
And you're okay with, nobody saw anything that concerned them about the text or anything? I think it's fairly clear and fairly straightforward. And I encourage great creativity and not just giant soccer balls necessarily, but what other ways can artists interpret this?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how people take the basic concept and make it their own and go in different directions. I did think about suggesting that we put football in parentheses, just in case anybody wanted to be pedantic about, especially
Yeah,
since we are
there's always-
catering to an international audience.
Yes, that's.
But not actually important.
So actually, no, I think that's actually valid.
I do too.
Should I say soccer /
Slash
football?
football.
Sure, I
Okay.
guess
I
let's
think
do
so.
it.
I think we have to respect
All right.
that it
Yeah,
is not
absolutely.
the same.
Not, yeah.
That's a great call. I love it.
And honestly, we're all going to have to probably get used to saying football, a little bit more. Otherwise, people will laugh at us in public.
I have a suggestion, and I think maybe to entice more people or maybe entice a different crowd to look at this offer is to create maybe a quick flyer has all the quick pinpoints on it that could refer them to this letter. But I think maybe just this letter out, I'm going to see it and be like, that's not for me. When it could very well be for that person, but just different format to catch a different kind of brainwave.
What we typically do is like a social media graphic, and we push it out that way. We could use the social
Okay.
media graphic in a similar way where you could just get the graphic and email it to people. So,
That would,
yeah, I can,
Yeah, like a.
I'm with you.
Okay, I love that.
And please talk this up amongst anybody you know who may not realize they should be interested.
Yes.
It's a great opportunity from a professional development perspective, even if somebody doesn't get selected, to understand how to apply. I really try to emphasize this to artists. A lot of artists shrink away from these types of things because they just don't think they can do it. And, it's one of those things, if you don't try, you won't know. So I really encourage artists, if they have
Yeah.
the slightest inkling of interest, they should do it.
Okay.
And I'm happy to offer whatever assistance I can,
Okay.
in that front. So, thanks. That's really effective and helpful. I appreciate it.
All right, we've got a couple more things on our agenda. Up next, we are going to, once again, this is a very volunteer-heavy agenda. We're going to select another volunteer, this time for the Phoenix Awards Ceremony Planning Committee. And I guess it's multiple volunteers. In the past, I think that body's been 3 folks who have put their heads together and worked out the details for the Phoenix Awards ceremony. So I cannot recall who amongst us has served on that subcommittee before, but if anybody is interested in being a Phoenix Awards Ceremony Planning Committee member.
Since I want to help be involved with this happening, I will be happy to volunteer.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank
It
you,
will be
Monique.
tied to your event. So, yes, thank you. That's really, I'm
Absolutely.
thrilled that's
Yeah,
happening.
no, thank you for helping me understand that was happening tonight, because I'm like, where is this happening?
Yeah, no, I want to make
Thank
sure.
you,
that
Porter.
yeah, no problem. No problem.
I'm excited.
This will probably obviously Monique will be working with this through the lead center in the program, which we know will be in December. So that means we're limited in, other than sort of creating an agenda, and I would bring previous agendas with me so we can review that. So it probably is 1, maybe 2 meetings max.
Yeah, it'll be.
Just to get guidance from this committee to make sure that we're on the right track and not missing anything.
Is anybody else interested in being a part of that subcommittee?
I will.
All right, great. Thank you, Kelly.
Yeah, volunteer, why not?
Yay.
All right, great. Thank you, Matthew.
Oh, Matt.
All right, we've got 3. So that's excellent. The next step is simply to figure out when the first meeting of that subcommittee would be.
Are we allowed to meet on our own?
Since
Three
it's
of us?
The three of us?
three subcommittee members, yeah, since
And then we can bring whatever back.
Right.
exactly,
Okay.
since 3 people is not a quorum, y'all can
Perfect.
work, hammer out some details.
And we can meet virtually. We don't even have to, however we can simplify this and really just touch base.
Okay.
I can send out the last Phoenix Awards agenda so you guys can see what that looks like.
Oh, yeah. I love the
Determine if
rubric.
there's anything different we need to do or anything like that.
Perfect.
so.
Thank you. I'm so excited.
So let me, instead of trying to set a meeting tonight, maybe, well, does that work for you guys?
Yeah,
Okay.
whatever's fine.
Are you available during the day?
Wednesdays, I can be pretty flexible, generally speaking, depending, of course, I say that I'm looking like several dentist appointments for kids on one of the Wednesdays, but other than that, like late afternoon tends to be better for me, going into early evening.
In the past, I will say, there's been some success with having subcommittees just meet right before this meeting.
Come in 30 minutes early or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
meet at a coffee shop beforehand and then walk over together. Stuff like that.
I'm down.
What about Monday, not disregarding
No,
what
that's-
you
that's
said,
fine.
but what about Monday, the 22nd, so we have a chance to get all 4 of us get up to speed? Then if we need to, that's a great option to meet, it's hard for me to do that because I have
Yeah,
the
of
Sister
course.
Cities meeting
Yeah.
prior.
Yeah,
But
I'm
Monday afternoon, the 22nd,
open.
what time?
I'm open. Matt, what does your day look like?
And we can adjust, it doesn't have to be that day. I'm just throwing that out selfishly because I happen to be able to do that.
Yeah, my Monday is completely open.
I'm looking.
Could also do Wednesday afternoon, the 24th.
That would actually work for me, honestly, whenever.
Let's see.
Wednesday, the 24th at like 3:30
Yeah,
or 4,
I
whatever.
can do that.
3:30, 4.
3:30 or 4. Kelly?
Let's do 3:30.
Okay.
Phoenix Awards, and this just gets us all lined up. And we can meet at Parks and Rec, and/or I will make it a Teams meeting, so if we want to meet virtually, we can do
Okay.
that too. And I will send
Love
that
it.
out to you guys. Great, thank you.
What time did we say?
3:30?
3:30,
September 24th.
Yes.
September 24th.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right, great. Thank you 3 for volunteering and look forward to hearing what y'all come up with. We have one more agenda item, item number 6, which is reviewing the Community Arts Grants Guidelines for 2026, and then also potentially discussing some dates around that.
So, this is, let me share before Kurt yells at me. And so I'm on the Community Arts Grants website, and this is last year's or this year's guidelines. I bring this up mostly to determine if there's anything you want to adjust for World Cup in this or anything else. So not that we have to go through this with a fine-tooth comb, but these are the grant guidelines from last year, which include equity and inclusion, environmental sustainability. We did a pre-application review. We, of course, have our mini grants and our regular grants. And then last year, it opened on December 30th and closed on February 3rd. That was a little later than I think we wanted, but we're trying to overlap with the Unmistakable Event Grants as well, so.
I don't know that I'd really be inclined to change this for World Cup. I feel like we kind of changed the sculpture for
Yeah.
World Cup, and art still happens, right? in the presence or absence of the World Cup. And so I'm more inclined to leave this just kind of the way it is, and administer it as our regular program than put any sort of a football bent on it.
I tend to agree because I guess just having something that's specifically dedicated to public art makes sense to have this public-facing kind of thing during a big tourist event, but there should be room for non-public art or just something different, you know?
And not including it specifically doesn't mean an artist couldn't say, oh, I want to do something.
Right, exactly.
and make
It's
it
still going to
up
be
on
judged
their
on
own.
its merits, right?
Right.
But I kind of feel like we've done a good job recalibrating for the event, but I don't think we have to recalibrate everything for the event.
Jeremy Smith, yeah, I agree that I think keeping this with more of a local focus makes sense. I also think that as far as just everything else with the community arts grant guidelines, I think we've gotten it to a pretty good place. I feel like we've tweaked it the last couple years. And now where it's at with the mini grants and the pre-application and some of these things that we've added, I think those things have been beneficial. And I kind of feel like it's perfect. We did it. We're brilliant. And we can just keep
A second.
Motion to approve.
Before we approve, I just had one thought about the environmental sustainability. I don't know if we had talked about that already, but I remember last year there was something, and it might have been the scoring matrix that we had some question. It was like nobody addressed environmental
yeah, that's true.
sustainability, and it just seemed like an odd weight to that category. I don't know if that's just something to think about, and maybe that's not something we have to think about with the guidelines. Maybe that's something that can be looked at when we're scoring or creating the matrix. I don't know. Or maybe that matrix is already shared with the public for transparency. So that was, I remember that being an issue when we were scoring them last year.
Is this maybe where I can put this suggestion? Because we're going to want to center our newer pieces downtown where it's more, high foot traffic. Would it be cool and to make sense to retire any of the pieces that we have now along the Lawrence Loop?
Historically, we've retired them annually. But in more recent years, if an artist wants to leave them out, that we've allowed that. So that
Artists
would be
typically
another
take 'em back.
conversation is, most artists want to take their pieces back, but over the years, some have just agreed to leave them. If another artist says, I want that spot, I've been selected and I want that spot, then we, of course, have it removed. So that's up for grabs as far as whether or not, we want to ask people to completely remove their work or not. It seems
Or at least to
people
move
really
it to
enjoy.
somewhere else where it can still be enjoyed, still be a part of community, but kind of keep the downtown area for, the current year's art recipients, grant recipients.
As far as the environmental thing went, I feel like what we came down to is it made sense that it was in there on some level, but it was a matter of just weighting it differently than other things, like just because it was either...
It was all or nothing.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say you either did it or you didn't. So it's
Right.
like 10 points or 0 points,
Right.
where you could have a little bit of nuance with some of those other numbers. So
Yeah.
It's also, I'll also say that for a lot of the community art grant, a lot of the submissions, I feel like for us as the folks who are reviewing them and scoring them in the rubric, being able to accurately determine what the environmental impact of each of the proposed projects is very difficult. And
Right.
I definitely feel like I was taking some stabs in the dark, and then also, it just seems like maybe, I can't remember how much it was weighted at, but it seems like maybe for our purpose and to be able to actually do service to what we're trying to do, it should maybe be an amount of bonus points awarded for folks who go out of their way to try
Oh,
and
that's an idea.
accommodate, as opposed to just like a whole category.
Yeah, I just don't know how
I
you
like that.
quantify it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's always the issue is, how do you quantify it?
But it is true that nobody really took the time to.
right.
We can encourage them, but yeah, thanks for bringing that up, Marlo. It is definitely definitely an interesting aspect. And we're not looking at the rubric right now, but I mean, is that something?
I have to go back and revisit that. Yeah, thank you, Marlo, for bringing it up. I think that's helpful. It is a conundrum because even in our Unmistakable Event Grant, because it is part of the city strategic plan, we've had it in there as well. And it's something that events grapple with. I think sometimes we overthink. It could be, do you have a proactive recycling program during your event? You know, it could be that simple where we have this element of sustainability that we are committed to, that kind of thing. I'm also thinking of Evan Johnson and his project, which if you haven't noticed, he's been solely painting the trees in South Park, and that is completely environmentally sustainable. And yeah, it's really, I love what he's doing. And he's going to keep going, so that'll be an opening. So anyway, you know, I think that's, you know, Matthew's point is well taken. A part of this is trying to get the cart to match up with the horse, so to speak, and, you know, what are artists doing? There was a time when this was a really popular topic in art, and now it's just kind of waned a little bit, but similar to football, you know, having, you know, giving those artists who might be inclined in this to give it a shot, so. But let me look at because I understand the scoring rubric was challenging for you guys, and so figuring out a different way to allot for that, I'll look at that.
Is there a way to maybe install some kind of item that can encapsulate a piece in order to open it up to artists who don't make weatherproof pieces of art? Like maybe an acrylic box or podium thing?
So just to be clear, well, I mean, for some of these, with the community arts grants, I mean, a lot of them are events more than.
Yeah, they're not the sculptures.
No, it's
This
not
is
sculptures.
the community arts grants. So they're going to be a variety of things. And that's where
totally on
where the environmental part becomes just a little bit tricky.
I wonder, in talking about it, I kind of wonder if, you know, we're focused on trying to select proposals that, you know, that are, you know, embracing the environmental sustainability, but I kind of feel like what we really want to do as a body is have something on the rubric which makes us stop and second guess any project which is, you know, egregiously not environmentally sustainable. You know, it's like, are we trying to specifically, because I mean, if someone's flying out folks to do a performance, flying on an airplane is horrible for the environment, but it's also just like, I mean, it's something that's a part of our society, unfortunately. I don't think it's really reasonable to request that folks, you know, bike across country to perform here. You know, flights are a part of our life. But if someone had a proposal which was a performance that involved burning 1,000 tires, it's like, okay, obviously this is
art.
Yeah, so it's like, are we looking for things that go out of their way to avoid the unsustainable things which are just part of our daily lives? Or are we looking to make sure we don't approve anything which is crosses a line into unsustainability? I'm just curious because I think all of us looking at the proposals last year were like, this one involves somebody driving, this one involves someone flying, this one involves, you know, some sort of material which is.
So you're saying establish what we would consider.
Yeah, maybe just like a baseline expectation, and then we can, if we feel like any of the applications like violate that, then that can be sort of a strike against them. But I don't know. I'm also just kind of.
That's probably the best way to approach it too. What does Marlo think?
I'm sorry that I missed the last part of that conversation.
It's okay, Marlo. The last part was just me sort of like free form.
It was a good free form.
So
I
one,
loved the idea of the bonus points, Daniel. I thought that was really good. So that way the environmental sustainability factor is still there, but it's not weighted to the extent to some of these things. Because I don't feel we always have to be beholden to the strategic plan, things that are identified. You know, I think weighting it at that level. I just remember that being problematic when we were reviewing last time.
So I think this unmistakable identity number 13 actually talks about increased education classes, public events and celebrations, preservation of the environment. Earth
But I
Day.
don't think having it in the rubric achieves that effect.
Okay.
That's just my.
And I think also.
So here's the rubric too. Can you guys see that? So what I did was basically weight these three areas, at the same level, and put it, with request, I put more emphasis on these two things because I was being told that we're not being considered as high. But we can change them.
Well, we can consider it highly, but it doesn't have to translate to points, right? I mean, I also like the kind of extra bonus, like it's something that we're taking into account, and somebody who has addressed it or their project really speaks to that, we can, they could move up the ladder because of that. And I think
like that.
that's the encouraging behavior we want, right? So I kind of like, I like that idea a lot.
So help me understand how you mean that as far as, because obviously the scoring is key.
Right, but I guess I look at it as, it doesn't work in its current format, right? And so we want to address it, we want to reward people for environmental sustainability, okay? So why don't we create that as an extra credit, like you put it at the end.
Sort of like the American.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so like on some of the other rubrics where we can, give a discretionary point or two or three or four, whatever it is, that would give us the opportunity to look at projects, and if they really meet that goal, they get all the points, right? But it's not 15 points. It's not weighted so heavily.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's not important, right? It's just, it kind of skews, and how you interpret that per project, it just wildly varies.
Right. I
And
understand.
we're never going to all agree on that. And so I think we take it out of that, we take the difficulty out of it, and we just say, hey, if they've really addressed this, or if it really gets this, then we're going to give them extra points for it. And I mean, we can flush this out in detail. So the weighting's super problematic of it.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Smith, I kind of wonder, with what I was talking about earlier, as far as the baseline expectation that the city of Lawrence has for environmental sustainability that just kind of runs through everything we do. I kind of wonder if that component could just be, I mean, we have an entire category which is just project quality. If there was a line in there that said lives up to the baseline expectations the city of Lawrence has for environmental sustainability, that would be the baseline, and then we could have an extra 5 points for anybody who's because people will occasionally really go out of the way and take great strides to go above and beyond. So maybe, the baseline of environmental sustainability could just be a quality of the project that we would keep in mind when scoring in that category, and then we'd have an additional 5 points for folks that are who are biking across the country to avoid burning jet fuel.
And would that also be included for the equity and inclusion?
I think equity and inclusion is too big.
Yeah.
It's too important to not have its
Have
own
it be more
have its own
assertive.
category.
I think those maintain the weighting that they have,
Yeah.
because while they're all important, those are especially figure into,
Those need to be the most
yeah,
prominent.
yeah.
So based on what I'm hearing, I have an interesting take. I'm thinking of moving project quality 1, community value 2, then unmistakable identity, then equity and inclusion, then application quality, overall merit, and then have environmental sustainability with 5?
Yeah.
3?
Yeah.
Okay, and then just score accordingly,
I think 5 is.
something like that.
Nice round number.
I'm trying to remember what the total numbers end up being in the 40s and 50s. I'm trying to remember what they were.
I thought they added up. Nah, never mind. I don't remember.
Maybe I'm just a harsh.
And 25, 40, 50, 60, 70 was what, I mean, it can be any,
Right.
it doesn't have to be 100 or 7,
To me, 5 points seems like it could mean the difference in the ranking.
That's what I think too.
Yeah,
but
I'm a harsh scorer,
Yeah.
so yeah.
So these 3 would all be up to 5. And not to say it isn't as important, it's just more challenging to score that.
The devil's in the details.
But that's actually what, one of the things I always say is that you all as panelists should bring your bias and score according to your bias based on what you're reading in the application. So having these merit options, to your point, could change a score significantly, potentially. Okay. Let me work on that and bring it back at the next meeting.
Thanks, Porter.
Yeah, thank you. All right, we have 2 minutes left for our miscellaneous section. We actually have a lot of miscellaneous this time around. First of all, an update on the Phoenix Awards being created by C. Brian Young. I believe we have a beautiful photo.
Yeah, it looked nice.
Whoops, now I gotta find it.
I think it looks great.
Yeah, I wanted to share this. I'm really excited. He has been terrific,
Yeah.
and they're really
Dogwood.
beautiful. So he's getting these done.
Goodness.
Wow,
I
Yeah,
love the ginkgo.
yeah.
that's cool.
That's incredible.
So this is where he is, and he sent me other photos. I just did these for now, but showing me I mean, each of these panels is so intricate. It's just really beautiful. So really great work here. So I wanted to share that with enthusiasm.
Is that inlaid wood or painted? Oh,
Inlaid.
wait,
Yeah.
can I see the
wow.
stack again? Wow.
He's incredible.
I
Yeah.
was like, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Yeah, no,
That
these are
is
really something.
insanity.
Yeah,
So,
What an artist.
yeah.
I'm going to go a little bit out of order with these miscellaneous items because number 3 is a reminder that the Phoenix Award nominations are now open. Since we're looking at these incredible awards, if anybody you nominate would be eligible to have one of these
Yeah.
incredible pieces of
We
art.
need nominations.
Yeah.
Then now, technically, the written nominations at this point close on September 30th.
Okay.
But we have now adjusted, so we're not going to be doing the Phoenix Awards in October or November, but December. I could extend that deadline and do a new sort of, let's push it back out into the community, because I have not received any yet.
And with these new pictures.
Yes, with the pictures being. I mean, obviously, this is a public meeting. There's
Yeah.
some handful of people watching this right now. So these, I mean, maybe the artist would want to give us different or better pictures, but being able to incorporate these into an additional push for nominations,
Yeah.
I think would really
Site.
drive
So,
people.
Why don't we move it a month out till, well, it'll be Halloween, but
Ooh,
move it to Halloween and then go from there. And that way you guys can do the scoring and stuff in November, and then we are ready to go in December. Actually, you could even look at them in December potentially if we needed to. When's the event?
The 13th and 14th.
Oh, no, so it would be, so we need to do it in November, okay. Okay,
Awesome.
I will do that. And
yeah, they're incredible.
He and his wife are our first quarter show next year.
Well,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
cool.
Yeah.
We've got a couple other miscellaneous items. Update on plans for the Unmistakable Public Art Exhibition opening and art walk, final Friday, September 26th. So we met and talked about this. I don't remember when that was. Last week, week before. It was in the past, not the present or the future. So Porter, do you want to talk about discuss what we came to? We're gonna start at the Parks and Rec building,
Right,
South Park.
so we don't have the visitor center available, and I've been debating options, and then Evan has been working diligently on the trees in South Park, and I thought, what a great way to start things off by just starting at the Parks and Rec office space, and then, the focus is always the art walk, and knock on wood, we have good weather. And so we decided that would be workable. As it turns out, another wrinkle in this is that the Parking Day public art project, if you're not familiar, Parking Day was done many years ago. They resurrected it last year. Basically, they take over parking spaces downtown and create little public art venues or vignettes, if you will, in different ways. And it can be anything. One year they had a clean dumpster as a restaurant space. So you ate in a dumpster, which was kind of interesting. That was parked in a space.
Our reservation?
I don't remember which restaurant did it, but
I don't recall either.
that was one example. Others were architecture students doing various things. I think the one out in front of the bourgeois pig was pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So it's a range of things, a really fun project. It will also be opening the same night. So as we're walking around, we'll get to see some of those as well. It's Park, and then in parentheses, Ing Day. It's actually a national public art program, but then it's been implemented here several years in a row.
And that is, when?
That'll be the same,
September
it'll be
26th.
opening
Okay.
on Final Friday at the
cool.
same time.
Support it.
There'll be a lot going on downtown.
What time will the walk be?
We'll meet at the Parks and Rec office at 5:30 and then probably start walking around 6-ish.
Okay.
Supporter, you described that as a wrinkle, but it sounds like that's just
It's
an upside.
kismet.
It's great.
And then we talked about the possibility of increasing the food element, but really decided that walking foods would be good for folks. And it is sort of the dinner time, so we won't be feeding anybody dinner. But often what people do is after we're done, they go off and have dinner, which is great.
It is great. All right, we have a couple more things on here. A mural project for the Vermont Street Garage in partnership with Lawrence Parking Services.
So Lawrence Parking Services reached out to me. They did the mural in the New Hampshire Street garage with Monique. And so he's
With Mona.
Mona.
Mona, sorry. Monique, Mona.
I did that exact same thing
Similar.
like like a few minutes ago. So yeah.
And so he has ferreted out another wall in the Vermont Street garage, and he's interested in doing a project there. So I agreed to help with the artist selection process for that. So just wanted to let you guys know that's going to be up and coming, and I just
That's
wanted
great.
to let you know. It's a smaller wall. If you know where the stairwell is, it's opposite, due east of the stairwell, there's a wall that faces west. Okay, what did I just? Due west of the stairwell, the west-facing wall on that first level is open for this mural project.
That's great. I mean, the mural that Mona did is
It's
fantastic. And
incredible. She did
so-
a great job.
Yeah.
our final miscellany, obviously there could be more miscellany. That's the whole point of miscellany. But the final one we have on here is the Lilliarda Public Art Opening Reception. It's September 20th. It's coming up. It's a little walk. It ends at Van Gogh. There's food. There's music. It starts at, we talked about this earlier, Marlo. It starts at 5 or is it 5:30? It's 5:30, isn't it?
5:30.
5:30. Yeah, I will be there. I'm very excited. And then we are over time. It is 8:35. But if anybody has any additional miscellany they would like to, I see Tim has some stuff. Things that you've seen or experienced that you want to talk about, upcoming things that you want to plug.
Pass these around. So we're getting ready to have our next show at the gallery at Landmark. And this show is going to be really great. And I'll remind us all again, October 8th when we're here. But it's Teresa Martin, and it's going to be a very political show, which is probably going to get me in trouble. But I don't care. Her artwork is so good. And she's very excited, and it's a solo show. She can fill our entire space. So we're going to be having the opening on the 10th from 5 to 7 of October. So please come. I think we need to support art on the West Side.
You're here. Thank you.
I went to the art market out at the fairgrounds last weekend, and it was amazing. My daughter, she ended up with 2 new necklaces and 2 new bracelets and a crocheted pig, because apparently I was just not saying no to anything that day. That was wonderful.
Those crochet pieces were impressive.
They really were, and very reasonably priced too, I thought. But no, it was fun. We spent about an hour just kind of kicking around there, and I'll go to the next one.
We'll have more.
All right, great. So hearing no further items, we are allowed to adjourn. I will say our next meeting is, what month is it? His next meeting is October 8th. It's our next regular meeting. And then unless anybody has any objections, I will look for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
And can I get a second?
Second.
And second, all right. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Kelly. And we will do a roll call vote starting with Marlo.
Approve.
And then Tim.
Approve.
And then Alicia.
Approve.
Monique.
Approve.
Kelly.
Approve.
Matthew. Approve. And I shall also approve ending this meeting. Thank you, Porter. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, everybody watching on YouTube or wherever you might be out there in the world,
land.
out in TV land. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.